Minister of Tourism Hisham Zazua announces the start of the World Tourism Day Festival from the Governorate of Luxor in a press conference that was full of positivity and celebrated the progress of tourism in Egypt.
I did expect it. The only difference is that I'm aware of most of these requests. But when you have a crisis and you're trying to get out of it, you basically try to take what is important first and less important at the end. So part of these suggestions will definitely be tackled and implemented, but maybe at a later stage. There is requirements and things on the priority list to be done first. That's what I'm trying to do at this stage.
A press conference that was full of emotion, celebration and success. Minister Hisham Zazua celebrates with the citizens of Luxor their progress, development and the first German flock of tourists to Luxor in 3 years.
I think the Minister of Tourism took very good steps, positive steps for supporting the people who are working in the Hantur and the Fuluka, and he gave it to him about 1.5 million as a money for prepare something items for feeding them, feeding the horses and feeding the people itself. And I think it is will continue until the end of the year.
Not only did the conference celebrate the efforts of the ministry and the governorate, but also came to support horse carriage drivers and felucca owners in both governorates of Luxor and Aswan with 3 million Egyptian pounds from the Tourism Support Fund.
As I had said, we are planning in cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism to reduce the cost of tickets, which will be issued outside Egypt, also to support the routes which will conduct a direct flight from Europe to Luxor, and also there is a reduction in the ticket cost 20%, which will be issued outside Egypt. At the same time, we will reduce the landing and the parking fees and the ground handling in Upper Egypt airports. In addition, we give the same incentive to the airports Sharm el-Sheikh and Wurdak.
Minister of Tourism Hisham Zazua celebrates the accomplishments of the Ministry of Tourism in the Governorate of Luxor. Noor Hussein, Nile TV International.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us today Ms. Hanan Emara, who's a tourist guide, and we'll be talking today about Egypt's tourism industry. That's what we'd like to be talking about with you, and which has been hit very hard recently by the political crisis that's been happening. And we need to recoup the lost revenue streams, and Egypt's Ministry of Tourism is taking steps to promote both the domestic and the international traveling. And also another thing that we would like to also be talking to you about is that the Ministry of Tourism as well as the Ministry of Civil Aviation have celebrated the World Tourism Day at the Governorate of Luxor. And if you can just tell us a little bit about that festival, please.
The normal festival for the World Tourism Day in Egypt usually celebrated in Nasr, Medina Nasr Celebrating Center, but in addition, and because of the current situation in Egypt and to call back tourism to Egypt, the Minister of Tourism, with the cooperation of the Minister of Civil Aviation and also the Authority of Tourism in Egypt, with the Egyptian guides, of course, all of them cooperated to make a big festival in Luxor. Of course, Luxor is a message itself. When you look at the picture and see all the great temples. So you feel that all the pharaohs are calling you to come back to Egypt and visit them because they are missing all of their tourists and their lovers all over the world. This day actually also includes a very important event, which was a delegation of 65 Germans. The delegation was composed of journalists and hotel owners and managers and all the people who are concerned in tourism. And you know that the German tourism is a very big source for tourism in Egypt. They are like the second source of tourism to Egypt, of tourists to Egypt. And now that event affected actually, and we have more than 8,000 tourists in the Red Sea area and Hurghada. Of course, they will try to visit also Luxor and Aswan, and all of that will, inshallah, make a good movement in the coming days.
Right, Ms. Emara, Egypt endured two graceful revolutions, and just like any country who have undergone a revolution, there is a transitional period. Now, we have 1/3 of the world's monuments here, and such a great history. A country like Mexico do not possess 1 inch of half of what we possess, but the tourism is booming there. So where do you see the problem? Is it because of the transitional period that was a little bit shaky, political instability and that rights and everything, which is normal for any country, or it's because of the vision for the way they are planning for their tourism, the touristic map and everything, and how they are promoting for their country?
Actually, the transition period is the first really affecting the situation in Egypt. But even before that, we were not number one. But we deserve to be number one. Yeah, we deserve to be number one because we have all that great history and monuments and locations, great and kind people. But those people has to be educated to represent that great history to the others. I mean the social awareness. All of us has to be a representative for his country and his civilization. And you know, like when you are showing the best of your home to the outsiders, it's something like that. You are always taking them to the beautiful corners. So we have also to put a spot or a light on the good sides in our country, but that starts from the very early years of the school. Yani we have to educate our children that you are Egyptian, you have a great history, you have a great civilization, you have to reflect that on your behaviors, you have to reflect that in your way of life, not just to say hello and welcome to the tourist and then all what you know after that comes. No, we have to deal with tourism as a way of life. Tourism in Egypt is not actually the second source of national income. I can say it is the first source of national income because it is the direct income. That's what people are taking in their hands and how they earn their food, how they live daily.
Do you think, Ms.